It's highly significant that Rory Gallagher has appointed Derry boss because he's just the second ever outside manager that they've had after Brian Mullins, who of course led the county to an Ulster title in 1998. The backroom team is definitely something that would, I'd imagine, impress people in Derry. Enda Muldoon, he's a very expansive style, management experience at club level with Banagher, and Kieran Meena, who was in with Damien McErlane last term, former Tyrone player, apparently very popular with the players, and they're delighted he's staying on. A couple of other nominations for the job were Johnny McBride and Paddy Bradley, who of course played for Derry. They were on a joint ticket. The under-20 manager Mickey Donnelly and Cole Rains, their former boss or long-standing boss Sean McGoldrick. So there was a county board meeting and the clubs weren't happy, and then it was pushed back, the idea of ratifying anyone. Then it was pushed back again. Then Rory Gallagher ended up getting put forward for it, and he ended up getting the job. Others kind of backed out when they saw that his name was in there because they felt they wouldn't be able to compete with him. They've been in 4 of the past 5 minor Ulster finals, winning 2 of them. So there's obviously talent coming through. It's an underperforming county, you'd have to say, and they're going to be in Division 3 next year. They had a 100% record in Division 4, but it's not like they were hammering everyone, probably winning on average by maybe 4 or 5 points. Not going to be particularly easy to get out of Division 3 either, because the likes of Cork, Down, Tip, they're in there. And just looking at, I saw Cahir O'Kane mention, the Irish news journalist, that if the tiered championship goes through, like John Horan, the GA president, is talking about, and we'll see with Special Congress this year, they'd have to reach what will be only their 3rd ever Ulster final this century if they're to avoid dropping into the B championship, which seems weird for a county with their history. But it's not that long ago that they made the Division 1 final. That was in 2014. They were hammered by Dublin. I think things kind of fell apart for them afterwards. Mark Lynch had done unbelievable in a league game, scoring 1-8 against Dublin in March that year in Celtic Park, and but then Johnny Cooper, I remember, cleaned them off at Croke Park that year. But just looking at Rory Gallagher, because it's probably easy enough to look at him as a defensive coach, and that was probably my first instinct. And I was chatting with Declan Bogue, the journalist who's based up in Ulster, and he was kind of running through it, and he was talking about how he'd always been a coach from his teens, and like he was with Bridget's in Dublin, went there and he was involved in coaching, then up to St. Gall's and Belfast, and in his second year apparently he was a big part of how they were playing, and they went on to win an All-Ireland under Lenny Harpison. Martin McHugh had him with Sligo IT where they won a Sigerson, and he recommended him to Jim McGuinness. So he went in with McGuinness, they won the All-Ireland, Ulster as well, 2 Ulsters, left after 2013, took over himself in 2015, so got to Ulster finals in 15 and 16, beaten by Monaghan in 2015, and probably tactically outdone. Even 2017, the way it ended up, hammered by Galway. That was a really disappointing end, and that was, they were playing horrible stuff as well, so it was hard to make a case to stay on. Then he took over Fermanagh, who he played with for on and off for 15 years, won promotion from Division 3, reached an Ulster final, which is their first in a decade. They look good for promotion this year up to Division 1 for 2020, but they lost a couple of games to Armagh and Meath, so they finished 3rd, which isn't bad for a county of Fermanagh size. And then they went on and lost to Donegal and Monaghan. So overall, when you stand back from it, the football wouldn't have been great. It would have been fairly conservative, organised, structured, whatever way you want to look at it, but not good to watch. But the thing that when I was talking to Declan Bogus, he was talking about how it wouldn't be just defence only, and even it's seen in Killybegs this year in Donegal that he got them promotion from Division 2 and they were shooting the lights out, really high score, not all about defence. Now at the same time, he hasn't won any championship silverware as a manager in his own right. Of course, massively involved in 2012 with Donegal, but hasn't won stuff in his own right. I think in Derry, I think most people are probably behind this, but they probably would want a bit more of an expansive style. Then again, winning football is the only style that matters, and considering they're down in Division 3 and they've got underage promise coming through, I think he's got a lot to work with, and it might end up probably being a good appointment, even if some people are quite concerned about the style of football.